Coming up on 5 Minute News. Trump tactics to overturn election could have lasting effect. Thousands protest in London against India's farming reforms. And UK urged to follow Denmark in ending North Sea oil and gas exploration. It's Monday, December 7. I'm Anthony Davis. President Donald Trump's efforts to challenge the legitimacy of the election and seeking to overturn the will of voters could have staying power. Trump's tactics are already inspiring other candidates and have been embraced by a wide array of Republicans. Supporters, including congressional candidates, state lawmakers, party chairs, conservative legal groups, and appointees to previously little-known state certification boards. The breadth of support for Trump's effort could be a troubling sign for future elections. What this president is doing is poisoning democracy, former Michigan Governor Jennifer Granholm said. And yes, he is setting a precedent, suggesting that it's okay to violate these norms that have made our country great. Granholm, a Democrat, joined with former New Jersey Governor Christine Todd Whitman, a Republican, to raise concerns about Trump's refusal to concede and efforts to undermine the integrity of the election. This is not who we are as Americans, and we don't want the public coming away from this thinking this is the norm, said Whitman, who served in George W. Bush's administration. Trump and his allies have pushed conspiracies involving voting machines manipulated by dead foreign leaders and tens of thousands of fraudulent mail ballots that somehow escaped layers of security and scrutiny by election workers across the country. They have filed bogus lawsuits without evidence, tried to pressure state lawmakers into seating their own presidential electors, and sought to influence low-level party members who sit on the state and local boards that certify election results. This is despite the fact that the federal government's own cybersecurity arm declared the presidential election the most secure in American history. And Attorney General William Barr said the Department of Justice uncovered no evidence that would change the outcome. Trump's attacks on Republican officials in Georgia and insistence his defeat by Joe Biden must be overturned are disgusting, the Republican lieutenant governor of the southern state said on Sunday. It's not American, Jeff Duncan said. It's not what democracy is all about. But it's reality right now. Even so, Trump has found friendly lawmakers and party officials willing to bolster his claims and adopt his tactics. Meanwhile, on Sunday, Trump said his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, has tested positive for the coronavirus, making him the latest in Trump's inner circle to contract the disease that is now surging across the U.S. The 76-year-old former New York mayor has traveled extensively to battleground states in recent days and weeks in an effort to help Trump subvert his election loss. On numerous occasions, he has met with officials for hours at a time without wearing a mask. Thousands of people protested and blocked traffic in central London on Sunday over Indian agricultural reforms that have triggered mass demonstrations in India, and police made 13 arrests over breaches of COVID regulations. A crowd of demonstrators converged on the Indian embassy located on Aldwych, a major artery in the centre of the British capital, and groups marched around the Trafalgar Square area. Tens of thousands of farmers have protested in India against 3 laws the government says are meant to overhaul antiquated procurement procedures and give growers more options to sell their produce. Farmers fear the legislation, passed in September, will eventually dismantle India's regulated markets and stop the government from buying wheat and rice at guaranteed prices, leaving them at the mercy of private buyers. Britain is home to a large Indian community, and many Britons who trace their family roots to India are strongly engaged with news from the country. Britain must end all oil and gas extraction in the North Sea as a matter of urgency if it is to maintain its position as a credible climate champion. That was the stark warning issued by Green campaigners on Saturday in the wake of last week's decision by Denmark to halt its exploration for new North Sea reserves as part of its commitment to cut carbon emissions and tackle climate change. The Danish decision is an embarrassment for Boris Johnson, who announced last week that Britain would take a lead in the battle against global heating by cutting national carbon emissions by 68% by 2030, a rate faster than any other major economy. However, the UK has not announced plans to end exploration in the North Sea for new gas and oil fields, or to halt extraction there, despite the established link between global warming and fossil fuel extraction and burning. By announcing its North Sea ban last week, campaigners say Denmark has undermined Johnson's attempt to portray himself as a world climate leader next Saturday, when he is scheduled to co-host a virtual climate ambition summit of world leaders. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.